Hello students, welcome to Royal Palace PU College, Jamkhandi online classes. Dear students, as you already know that we are in the middle of a chapter, that is PUC first year, chapter number 2, biological classification, and today we will be starting a newer topic called as the study of characteristics of another kingdom, and that kingdom is kingdom fungi. Dear students, in our previous classes we have studied basic characteristics of kingdoms of classification, the involvement of different scientists, their contributions, and what were their thoughts of creating this particular variety of kingdoms. I told you that there was a kingdom called as Kingdom Monera. It is still there. It includes variety of unicellular prokaryotic organisms, and it includes only those organisms. There should be single-celled organisms and there shouldn't be any true nucleus found in them. Having different kinds of characteristics we already studied. There were some problems relating to Kingdom Monera, Plantae and Animalia. They thought of identifying some other organisms which were having the characteristics of Kingdom Monera, Plantae and Animalia. They created another kingdom called as Kingdom Protista, and those Protestan characteristics also were different in nature. We even studied them too. Today, the fifth created kingdom called as Kingdom Fungi. Yes, dear students, we will be studying about this particular kingdom. Now, first point I need to tell you that in other literatures, in other explanations of us, in variety of the books, we will be coming to know another kingdom name, that is Kingdom Fungi, along with another word called as Kingdom Mycota. So Mycota and fungi both are not at all different, they are same. The study of fungi, fungus and their characteristics is called as mycology. Dear students, I am telling you as a basic thing because in future if you get these kind of words you should not have to get confused. Once again let me restate it again that Kingdom Fungi has got another name called as Kingdom Mycota. Both are same. Now once again I will be dividing this particular video, this particular topic into two sections. One as explaining the basic characteristics of the Kingdom Fungi, and another one explaining the classification of Kingdom Fungi. Okay students, so let us enter into the characteristics of this particular kingdom called as Kingdom Fungi. Welcome. Now first thing, it is a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organisms. It is quite easy to understand now at this time to say a word that these are heterotrophic organisms. I have been telling this word for a many year period of times now. In many of the classes I have been telling this word called as heterotrophic organisms. Heterotrophic organisms are those organisms which can prepare their own food for their growth and development. No. Heterotrophic organisms are those organisms which cannot prepare their own food for their growth and development. They are completely dependent organisms. They are dependent on other organisms. It might be living or it might be dead. So this particular kingdom contains all those variety of heterotrophic organisms in nature. Once again, the being the first character as the kingdom fungi or kingdom mycota members are generally heterotrophic in nature. Now coming to the next point is that they say that the kingdom fungi members or the fungi are generally cosmopolitan in nature, cosmopolitan in appearance. Now what is the meaning of this particular word called as cosmopolitan? It means that they are present everywhere of this planet Earth. They are present in air, they are present in water, soil, in the body of animals and plants, and outside the surfaces of animals and even the plants. Once again, let me restate it again that these are heterotrophic organisms, and along with that, these can be found in almost any of the places of this nature. Okay students, now let us enter into another point that these generally need specific conditions for their growth. Some organisms need higher temperature habitats. Some organisms need moderate temperature habitats. Some organisms need lowest temperature habitats, because those kind of temperature habitats or conditions make those organisms to stay, because their internal modifications are adapted to those particular situations. Their ancestors were evolutionarily practiced those particular environmental conditions so that these organisms can stay only in these particular places only. Now it is a quite understanding content that majority of the organisms need specifics in their habitat conditions and in their survival conditions. Likewise, these fungi members also need some specific environment conditions such as warm and humid places. A little increase in the temperature. I am not saying hot, I am just saying warm places. And the another word is humid places. Humid means the environment or the air containing a little water content in it. In Kannada, we use a word called as tevamsha, the presence of water droplets in the environment. That is called as humid place. Okay, now once again restating the points such as these are heterotrophic organisms, these are cosmopolitan organisms, and these prefer some warm and humid places for their growth and development. Now coming to the next point, considering the examples of that. So you can go for some examples such as bread mold, orange rots, mushrooms, toadstools, etc. So the reason that I have given these examples is that these examples only are present in our NCERT. If you want, I can give some more examples, right? I can go for yeast also, right? I can go for some other forms of yeast such as agaricus also. There are so many varieties. For why I am saying about yeast, because it is unicellular in nature. The specific thing kept on keeping in my mind to explain you all. Okay, so there are variety of fungi. So the reason of mentioning these examples are these are present in our NCERT. That is one of the specific or basic reason. Okay, now coming to the another point called as white spots seen on mustard leaves are due to a parasitic fungus. Now understand students, this point called as the fourth point, for one way it is explaining about the characteristics of kingdom fungi, and at the same time it is explaining the harmful nature of kingdom fungi. One of the character is that it is a parasitic organism. The reason or the explanation of parasite is once again very simple. Let me restate it again. Parasites are those organisms which live inside the body of an organism or outside the body of an organism, and these organisms are heterotrophic and completely dependent on the body of host for their growth and development. Now The white spots is one of the infection. Understand, it is an infection on the plants of mustards. Okay, mustard is a plant. Sasive gida. Mustard is a plant, and the leaves of that mustard plant are generally white, and it contains those white spots because of the infection caused by this parasitic fungus. So it is one of the infection or a disease. Now coming to the next point, such as some fungi are the sources of antibiotics. So one question comes to our mind, that what is the meaning of antibiotics? So what are antibiotics? Dear students, we have taken these antibiotic tablets. We will be taking these antibiotic tablets. These tablets are useful to our body in such a way that their mode of action will kill the microorganisms which are present in our body, which will inactivate the activity of the microorganisms present in our body. I am talking about those harmful microorganisms which cause diseases to our body. Antibiotics are the tablets, antibiotics are the medications which can be given to a patient to relieve him from the pain which is created by these microorganisms. It may be a fungus, it may be a bacteria, it may be a protista, or sometimes it may be a virus also. Actually, the virus contents will be drastic, and it will be very harmful for our body. So once again I am telling you, antibiotics are the medicines which are used to delete, inactivate, lower the activity, or to kill the disease causing organisms or pathogens in our body. Interesting fact though, that these antibiotics are created by the same microorganisms only. So antibiotics are created by fungus, and they are used to relieve the pain from the fungus. So antibiotics can be created by bacteria and can be used to delete the activity of the disease causing bacteria. Antibiotics can be created by a pathogen, and it is used for the treatment of the pathogen. It is like venom of a snake is deleted out or removed out from the body by the anti-venom from the same snake. Understanding, students? I hope you are getting the point here. Let us once again refresh some of the points here, that these fungi organisms are heterotrophic in nature, which means that these organisms are completely dependent on other organisms for their growth and development. These are cosmopolitan in nature, which means that they are present almost everywhere on the planet Earth. They are present in air, water, land, soil, animals, plants. These generally prefer warm places and humid places for their growth and development. Some examples already given. These cause some infectious diseases also. One of the example here is the presence of white spots on the mustard leaves, and it is because of a parasitic fungus, which means that the fungus which lives inside the body of that particular host or outside the body of that particular host. Some funguses are also used for the preparation of antibiotics. Some examples are such as here as penicillium, right? So from the penicillium there is a source, or there is a long form for it called as Penicillium notatum. So from this we can create an antibiotic called as penicillin. It was the first antibiotic which was created. Okay students, now let us enter into some more characteristics of this, such as some unicellular fungi are used to make bread and beer. So as we know for a fact that we regularly use bread, not the beer. We regularly use the bread and it is our day-to-day routine food. Okay. Now the bread is a product of fermentation. So fermentation is the one wherein which we will be adding the raw materials, a little amount of sugar, and will add water to it, and will add some fermenting material and will keep it overnight. The same thing happens to idli, the same thing happens to dosa also. We'll add a specific fungus here, and this fungus eats up all those sugary content, it breaks down those sugary content and creates alcohol, that is ethyl alcohol. And in the preparation of all those bakery products, generally this particular fungus is used. Now dear student, this fungus is very famous. The name of this fungus is yeast. Try to understand the word yeast. Y-E-A-S-T, yeast. The sixth point. So I am telling that the speciality of yeast, it is also called as the baker's yeast and brewer's yeast. Baker's yeast means it is generally used in bakery for the preparation of variety of bakery products, and it is even used in brewery. Brewery is nothing but the creation of alcoholic drinks or etc. Now in those alcoholic drinks also we use this particular fungus for a particular reason, that it breaks down those glucose contents and it releases the alcohol. Now the specific name is yeast. One thing that it is used in variety of the fields and it is called as the baker's yeast. And another important thing is that, dear students, do not forget this particular message or a note, underline this repeatedly. I am telling you that yeast is unicellular in nature. Okay, yeast is unicellular in nature. I repeat it, yeast is unicellular in nature. The point of kingdom fungi is that these are multicellular, one, and these are eukaryotic in nature. Multicellular means the formation of or the creation of or the presence of many celled body. An organism which is made up of many cells is called as multicellular organism. And the meaning of eukaryotic means the organism which is made up of true nucleus in its body. But here is the twist. Here is the one which was mistakenly added in this kingdom, and when it is removed from this kingdom, once again there will be different characteristics. Let us consider that Whitaker did a work by adding yeast in this group. Once again I am repeating, the famous name of kingdom fungi, one of the example is yeast. It is unicellular in nature, but generally kingdom fungi members are multicellular in nature. Okay students, I hope you are understanding it. Let's go to next point. Now, other fungi cause diseases in plants and animals. Now, this is also one of the characteristic and one of the harmful nature of kingdom fungi. Characteristic is that fungi are parasitic, fungi are heterotrophic, and lastly, the fungi are pathogenic in nature. Remember a word, pathogenic in nature. The meaning of pathogen is nothing but disease causing organism. An organism which causes a disease is called as a pathogen. So it can cause the disease in case of plants, it can cause a disease in case of animals also. Let me refresh it once again. For your kind information, bacteria also can cause diseases in animals and plants. Bacteria is also useful and at the same time it is harmful. So likewise, in one of the explanation I told you that it is used in brewery and bakery. It is used in a lot of essential works such as the preparation of the antibiotics. Likewise, it is having some disease causing points also. Okay, so some of the examples such as wheat rust causing the poxemia or pucemia or pucemia. So it goes with your own explanation or pronunciation. You go with respect to your own thing. So different teachers going for different pronunciations. I pronounce this one as wheat rust causing poxemia. Okay, so here wheat rust, wheat is a plant, and to that plant a rusty appearance, a chocolatey appearance, and that particular disease is called as poxemia. Okay, now entering into some more characteristics, we are at the point of eighth characteristic, that except yeasts, fungi are filamentous in nature. Sir, what is the meaning of filamentous? Filamentous is the character. It is an organism. To this organism, there will be the formation of hair-like structure. There will be formation of a tail-like structure, and these hairs can be called as cilia. These hairs can be called as pillae. These hairs can be called as a tail-like structure is called as a tentacle. Sometimes it is even called as a variety of names are there. So cilia is also there, filamentous is also there, hair-like structures are also there, and thread-like structures are also there. Variety of the things are there, right? So leaving yeast, the fungi members have got the hair-like or filamentous-like structures. Now, their bodies consist of long, slender, thread-like structure called as hyphae. One of the most important characteristic of kingdom fungi, and that is the presence of hyphae. Do not forget this. Do not at all forget this, because we'll be seeing the same kind of characteristics in kingdom Monera, Protista, etc., etc. But some characteristics are specific, some characteristics are important. Okay, now body is filamentous, body is thread-like having, and the body is very slim. And this slim body is called having hyphae in it. What are hyphae? Let us enter into that and we'll understand it. Okay, now there will be branching things. Now if I say that this is a hyphae, okay, now let me draw the structure. See, this is a general body of a fungus. Okay, so now see, this body even looks like a plant, right? Looks like a plant, but this is not at all a plant, right? These are having the characteristics like that, but not in general. See, consider these are all tube-like structures, these are all slim structures, and these slim structures are called as, once again I repeat, these slim structures are called as hyphae. Now if this hyphae is in a network shape, which means that more than one, more than two, more than three, many hyphae are present, then it is called as mycelium. So the single one is called as hyphae, but the entire thing is called as mycelium. I hope you are understanding, students. Right, this is mycelium, and another one, the single point, is called as hyphae, and each and every body is made up of these hair-like structures. We call them as, what are those? Filamentous in nature. Okay, I hope you are getting it. Okay, once again let me repeat it, that the fungus body, the main fungus body, contains filamentous or cilia-like structures onto them. In case of kingdom Protista and Monera, if I talk about pilla and cilia, I would say that these are for the movement purpose, right? And here I am just saying that these are hair-like structures which are static. Let me repeat it, these are static hair-like structures. Static means they are not at all moving. Only those filaments are moving in those places, but it is not moving from one place to another place. Okay, now the body contains slender cut pieces, slim, and these are moving here and there. These branched things, these are individual tube-like structures, they are called as hyphae. Okay, hyphae, and if it is present in a bigger connection, then it is called as mycelium. Okay students, I hope you are getting it. Now, one of the another basic connecting point. Some hyphae are continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are called as coinocytic hyphae. Others have septae or cross walls in hyphae. So we are at the point of 9. Now consider this as one of the hyphae. Okay, this is one hyphae and this is another hyphae. According to the statement here, if this is branched like this, if it is filled with the in between nuclei, okay, and it can further branch here also, and that is also once again made with the nuclei, that once again branches out into another structure, that once again creates some more nuclei. See here, what am I drawing? I am taking a single tube like structure and it is making branches, and in those branches it is once again in between cut and in between blockaded by some other structures. So there is a portion only this much, there will be a nuclei, once again there will be another portion and there will be another portion. It is like a fragmented body, right? So if that tube in between it is having sections, then it is called as a septate. I hope you are understanding, septate, right? And if this does not contain any cuts in between, so these are the cuts and this one doesn't have any cuts, this is called as aseptate. Let me repeat, if the fruiting body, fungal body, right, if that body is divisible into sections with in between divisions, then that is called as septate body. And if that is a tube like structure and it is not at all divisible into sections, it is a plain pipe like structure, then that is called as aseptate hyphae. Students, I hope you are understanding. Pause it, go back for 10-20 seconds, listen to the same thing and come back again. Okay, a tube like structure having branches or cuts, each cut containing the nucleus is called as septa, cuts. And if it does not contain any septas or cuts or differentiation, it is like a plain tube like structure, then that is called as aseptate body. Okay, now let us enter into some more points. One of the important point once again, that the fungal cell wall is made up of the chitin and polysaccharides. Chitin is one of the chemical, polysaccharide is another chemical. Chitin you consider as a protein and polysaccharide consider as the carbohydrate. Once again, let me repeat it again. The fungal cell wall is made up of a special chemical called as chitin, which we already discussed in the beginning of this chapter as explaining one of the drawbacks, what is one of the main problems of 2 kingdom classification and about 5 kingdom classifications. Repeating the same points, go back to those videos, you'll understand it once again. Okay, let me refresh it, retell it again, that the fungal cell wall is made up of chitin and polysaccharides. We'll study those things individually. Okay, now let us have some photos here. What you see in this, the first photo is a bread mold. Bread is there, the meaning of mold. We will be repeating these words again and again. Mold means it is a word connecting to fungus, right? Fungus. All these patches, it is because of this mold, and it is created on bread. That's why the name bread mold, one of the fungal infection. We normally see these things in our homes. And this is another type. An apple kept for several days results into these kind of shapes, wherein which this patch thing, right? This patchy thing is called as orange rots. Okay, so now this is another thing called as mushrooms, mushroom agaricus, right? Variety of the names are there. This is one of the example for fungus. This is another thing, example toadstool, right? Quite unusual in structure, but quite interesting in nature too. Yeah, this is a plant called as mustard plant, and this is a leaf of mustard plant, mustard leaf, and these are called as the white spots. And this is an infection, this is a disease, and this disease is caused by, as I told you, that it is caused by a fungus. Okay, this is a fungus. Now what you are seeing over here about this point, all these photos, A, B, C, D photos, it is of the wheat plant, and it is getting infected by a disease which is created by whom? It is a fungus once again. Now, okay, now once again, this is, as I am saying, that this is a body which is filamentous, hair-like structure onto their body, external appearance, filamentous hair-like structure. Okay, now observe this thing here, this photo. Come to this photo, students, come to this photo. Observe this photo. This is a typical example. We'll be drawing this for many a times in our entire life, right? If you are a biology students, and for the biology teachers, we'll be drawing it again and again. Okay, now this is a typical example of agaricus, a fungus, and this body contains those root-like structures. Remember, these are not roots, right? So these structures I'm talking about. Okay, these structures as collectively called as mycelium. The name is mycelium. Sir, what is mycelium? Before 2-3 minutes only we heard about it, sir. Sir, what is the meaning of mycelium? Come on, come here. As one of the diagram, come here. Now first diagram says septate hyphae, and another one says aseptate or coinocytic hyphae. Hyphae, sir, what is the meaning of hyphae? Plant body. Sir, why plant body? Just understand it as a fungal body, right? Fungal body, fungal connecting to the plant body, hyphae. Now this hyphae, it is first of all tube-like, it is slender or slim. Now the portions of these tubes, okay, first of all these are branched, in both the cases they are branched. The portions of these tube-like structures are intervened by these cuts. See here, intervened by these cuts, and internally there will be presence of one nuclei present in between them, right? These internal cuts are called as septate hyphae. Here if you see this photo, there will be no cuts at all. It is a slender entire whole tube is there, which is not at all cut in between, and that is called as coinocytic or aseptate hypha or hyphae. I hope you are understanding, students, right? A tube-like structure, cuts, nuclei, septa. A tube-like structure, no cuts, nuclei, asepta. Done? So these are the characteristics. Let us enter into some more things. Next point says that the most of the fungi are saprophytes, right? Sir, what is the meaning of saprophytes? Saprophytes, same thing, same explanation goes to the decomposers also. Sir, what is the meaning of decomposers? We even discussed the same thing in the previous video. The meaning of decomposers or saprophytes are the one which feeds on dead and decaying matter is called as the saprophyte or decomposer. Okay, let me repeat it again. An organism, it may be anything, it may be a plant, it may be an animal, it may be dead, it may be living. Okay, generally we go for the dead thing, that becomes the particular definition for the decomposing one thing, right? Because the decomposition says that the organism should be dead. Okay, so it may be anything with respect to leaves of the plant, bark of the plant, the dead plant, fallen down plant, okay, or a fruit, stem, or it may be dead animal of any kind. Okay, so if it is feeding onto that particular body, cutting those particular body into pieces, we call it as the fragmentation, and taking those pieces and releasing or removing those organic matters and converting that into a food is called as a saprophytic activity. Now, another point says that these are even parasites. We even discussed about parasites already, not to go once again the same thing. Okay, 12th point, these live as symbionts. The next word is symbionts. Sir, what is the meaning of symbiont organism? See students, I am a person. For my growth and development, I need something from you. And you are a student. For your growth and development, you need something from me. Instead of your help, I can go to some other organisms also. But my work, my growth, my development, my needs will be or should be given, provided by you. And at the same time, if you want any kind of growth, you need me at this time. Now, let us do one thing. We'll make a mutual understanding. We'll make a mutual connection so that I'll give something to you and at the same time you give something to me. So it's like I will also be happy and you will also be happy. Right? So there are some organisms, microorganisms, which are present at the roots of the plants. And these roots of the plants connecting nodules or the tightly packed the soil granules. In those soil packages there will be bacteria, fungus, they are present. Now generally what happens, the roots can absorb the water and that water can enter into the entire plant, the uphill movement. But the plant's roots are unable to absorb phosphorus. This is one of the example I am telling you. Now what happens, there is a particular bacteria, there is a particular phosphorus. What they say, see plant, I don't have a home, please give me a shelter, I'll stay in these roots, and instead as a thanks, as I have to say thanks to you, in return I'll absorb phosphorus from the soil and I'll give it to you. Right? So it is like a mutual arrangement. You give something to me, I'll give something to you. Mutually both are benefited. Now this word is called as symbiont nature. Okay, I hope you are understanding. Symbiont nature is nothing but mutual relationship nature. Right? So there are organisms called as lichens. Underline this word because this word will definitely come. More probable chances are there that you might expect this question. The word is mycobiont. Okay, the word is mycobiont. I'll write the word mycobiont. The word is mycobiont. It means that there will be a question called as what is the meaning of mycobiont, right? Myco, fungus, okay, beyond bios, right? Fungal association, fungal connection, the help of fungus. So lichens are a type of organisms which take the help of other organisms too. They are also generally they in association with those organisms they live. Generally they live with the two organisms, one with the algae and another one with fungus. Right? So let us talk about only the fungus. These lichens grow with the fungus along with them. Right? This mutual relationship is called as mycobiont nature, and if it is connection with the algae, it is called as phycobiont nature. Let me repeat it again. The word is mycobiont nature. mycobiont. So what is the meaning of mycobiont? The association of lichens with the fungus as a mutual understanding. Okay, let us go further. Now how they reproduce, right? How they reproduce? We have got three different varieties. First thing, vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. See students, along with the explanation of all these things, it might take huge amount of explanation, There will be chapters relating to reproduction. Let me refresh it in a simple sentence. An organism giving birth to another organism similar to itself is called as the reproduction. A cow giving birth to another cow similar to the mother or a father is called as the reproduction. A dog giving birth to another dog and similar to the parent is called as reproduction, right? Giving birth to another one. Now it is of 3 points. One as a vegetative propagation, another asexual, and third one sexual, right? If it is happening, if the reproduction is happening from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, if it is happening from any part of the plant is called as vegetative reproduction. It may be from the root, it may be from the stem, it may be from the leaf, it may be from the flower, etc., etc. If it is happening, if the birth is happening from any part of the plant is called as vegetative. In a short form I am telling you. Then asexual reproduction, if it is happening from not the fusion of male and female gametes. Try to understand, there is a male body, there is a female body. This male and female body having the sexual intercourse, there will be the production of younger ones. And if it is happening like this, it is called as sexual reproduction. And if it is not at all happening like this, there is no fusion, there is no formation, then it is called as asexual reproduction. It takes a lot of explanation. Not now, this is not at all the particular time to explain about it. Just think about it, that reproduction is of three types. Generally it is two: asexual, sexual. We'll add another one called as vegetative. About the first one called as the fragmentation, breakage of the body into fragments and individual fragment becoming a newer individual. Fission, breakage of parent body into two or many types called as fission. Budding, this is the body and this is a small bud, extra growth, okay, small bud, extra growth, and from this growth there is an individual growth, individual development, individual organism. I can understand, I can tell you that these are all basic things, but when you come to second year, you'll come to this in a very perfect way. Okay, now asexual reproduction, there will be spores. I already explained you about spores in previous class. Spores called conidia, sporangiospores, zoospores. Some are motile, some are non-motile. Zoospores are motile in nature and conidia are non-motile in nature. Sexual reproduction, oospores, ascospores, basidiospores. Now understand, here the word spores are being used for many times. Spores, I told you, a body, a fruiting body, there will be so many spores, small granular type spherical shaped spores, and from these spores when they hatch out, they come outside, and from those spores there will be growth of newer fungi, newer organism. Okay, now spores, don't forget this thing, spore, right. The next thing is that their sexual life, the organisms, the fungal organisms which undergoing the sexual reproduction, they follow up 3 steps. Let us understand them one by one. Okay, point number 14, we are at the stage of point number 14. First one is plasmogamy. So what is the meaning of plasmogamy? fusion of protoplasm between two motile or non-motile gametes. So in case of male and female, we see two types of gametes. One as a male gamete, another as female gamete. For the male gamete we call it as sperm, and the female gamete we call it as the egg. Okay, the egg. Okay, the sperm and the egg. Sperm is called as male gamete, egg is called as female gamete. Both, okay, both are the haploid cells. Now these haploid cells contain the protoplasm and cytoplasm in it. The first thing, if they want to have the sexual intercourse, then these cells, sperm and egg, this cell should have to come in contact with each other and their protoplasm mixes with each other. Okay, fusion of protoplasm, plasmo, right, gametes. Okay, so the fusion of protoplasm between these two motile gametes means sperm moving, egg moving. So these two are called as motile gametes. Sperm not at all moving, egg not at all moving is called as non-motile gametes. If they are moving, motile; if they are not at all moving, they are called as non-motile gametes. If there is a fusion of this protoplasm, it is called as plasmogamy. Then the next one is karyogamy. Here karyo means nucleus, plasmo cytoplasm, karyo means nucleus. Underline this thing, repeat this thing, write this thing. Okay, karyon means nucleus. Okay, cell, inside the cell there will be nucleus which contains the genetic material. Okay, the nucleus, if the fusion of this one takes place, then it is called as karyogamy. First thing, fungal cell coming close to each other, fusion of protoplasm is called as the plasmogamy. After the fusion of protoplasm, there should be the fusion of what? The nucleus. Then it is called as the karyogamy. And after that, the last one is meiosis in zygote resulting in haploid spores. One of the confusing, one of the toughest thing to understand in biology is about cell division. Where actually the cell division happens, how actually the organisms will produce, it is quite tough to understand. Okay, let me refresh it again. So meiosis is a cell division method wherein which a diploid cell, a big parental cell, this is a parental cell, and this parental cell undergoes division. It produces two cells in meiosis 1, and after that it produces another two cells. It completes the cycle of meiosis. This is a 2n body. 2n means diploid body, and this diploid body undergoes meiosis. In the first cycle it creates two cells, and this is the another stage, that is meiosis 2, and in the meiosis 2 it creates 4 daughter cells, and each daughter cell is haploid in nature. This is called as meiosis. Okay, meiosis, a 2n body giving rise to the production of 4 haploid daughter cells called as the meiosis. I hope you are understanding the sexual cycle of the fungus. First thing, fungal bodies should have to come together. First fusion is for the protoplasm. After the protoplasm, the second fusion is fusion of nucleus. Okay, and third, lastly, the formation of meiosis in the zygote. And finally, the spores will be produced. Those spores are haploid in nature. First one, plasmogamy. Second one, karyogamy. Last one is meiosis. Okay, now coming to the next thing, that when a fungus reproduces sexually, two haploid hyphae of compatible mating types come together and they fuse. Common thing, as I told right now. In some fungi, the fusion of two haploid cells immediately results in diploid cells. Okay, now what is the speciality here? As I mentioned, this is the actual result of the thing. Meiosis, a parental body, 2n cells, diploid cells undergoing meiosis produces 4 daughter cells. One cell producing 4 daughter cells. These 4 daughter cells are haploid, 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 haploid. One cell, parent cell, diploid, 2n giving rise to haploid, 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 haploid. All 4 are haploid. Okay, this is the condition, but in some of the conditions they become diploid, 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 diploid. Understanding, sir? Right. Now, there are some conditions that they are telling in other fungi, Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. They are telling some of the points here. Now, a dikaryotic stage or dikaryophase happens, that is n+1, that is 2 nuclei per cell occurs. Such a condition is called as dikaryon. Dikaryon. What is the meaning of di? Di means 2. What is the meaning of karyon? Karyon means nucleus. So what is the meaning of dikaryon? Which means that one cell presence of 2 nuclei. I repeat, one cell, 2 nuclei condition is called as dikaryon. Okay, later parental nuclei fuse and these cells become diploid, a common thing to understand. Okay, now the next thing is the fungi form fruiting bodies in which reductional division occurs. Reductional division, nothing but meiosis. Meiosis. Meiosis is also called as reductional division. We already studied about it. Leading to the formation of haploid. There are 4 haploid spores we discussed. Based on the morphology of the plant body or a mycelium, mode of spore formation and fruiting bodies, fungi are classified into some other sections. Okay. 15th point says the classification of the fungi. So dear students, in the beginning only I told you that this particular video is limited to only the characteristics of the kingdom fungi or kingdom mycota. I hope you are understanding these online classes and videos. Okay, so this is the end of the video explaining about what characteristics of kingdom fungi. In the next class we will definitely meet again, and in that class we will study the different characteristics of different varieties of fungi. Okay, we'll study the classification in short. Okay students, I'll definitely meet you in the next video, that is a promise, and until that time, be safe and study always. Take care of yourself. Okay, bye.